I don't typically like to follow news of the day, but in this case I will. Obviously, Orlando is horrific. I've been tweeting up a storm. I don't agree with people who say this isn't the time to politicize a tragedy. I think this is the time to not exploit it, but to bring up the obvious point that, the shapeshifters and, all the gun activists and NRA members like to, pretty much deflect from. But there's one common thread in all these shootings, whether it's a Muslim, a white person, an alien, assault rifles. Yes, right. There have been mass shootings where assault rifles weren't used, but even in those cases, there were easy access to guns. What's your take on Orlando? And again, in Congress, this is the issue that, money in politics might be easier to overcome than guns.
Right. I agree. And when folks try to say that this isn't the time, when is the time? Because I'll be there. If you tell me a time and a place, I'll be there. But the idea that somehow we can't talk about it, this is the only issue that happens on a mass scale that we just can't talk about. It's off limits. Americans are dying daily. I don't understand how that's off limits. And my take on it was, it's devastating. It's heartbreaking. It made me angry yesterday. And yet I wasn't surprised because these events are occurring all across the country. And especially with this attack, when it went after LGBTQ members, I'm sorry, but when there's a news media organization in Fox News, you have Republicans on the right and on the far right at times who don't accept those who are different or love somebody other than who they think that they should love. And they demonize and they demonize and they demonize. This is the result of that. And I believe that they are directly responsible for that. And again, it's devastating, but unsurprising because you have Congress members, as you say, really being the mouthpieces for the NRA. You have, the NRA dictating we can't prevent individuals like the one in Orlando who was suspected of terror ties to not get a gun. He can't get on a plane, but he can go out and get a gun legally. Now, I don't know what other civilized country in the world says that that's okay, but it's not okay. And, the idea that somehow we're also just shrugging our shoulders and saying that's life in America, we need to take this on. We're not advocating for taking all guns away from individuals. We're actually trying to protect the rights of responsible gun owners by keeping guns out of the hand of irresponsible individuals who never should have a gun.
Right.
And strong background checks. If you're on a terror watch list, and as bad as the terror watch list is, I don't think it's an excuse to say, well, until we fix that. No, we can add individuals and we will fix it. But if you're on that list, I'm sorry, you cannot buy a gun. And that would have prevented the massacre that happened yesterday. And, while we're not going to stop every single massacre that happens, I believe if we save one life, that's enough.
Right. And I also think that at the end of the day, you look at the gun issue, yes, there are mentally ill people, and yes, there are terrorists, but no leader, not you, not Bernie, not anyone is going to eradicate mental illness, unfortunately, and no leader is going to eradicate terrorism. So the only thing you can do is try to not make readily available weapons of mass destruction that mentally ill people, untreated, or terrorists can use. There is a reason that these things aren't happening with knives.
Right. When individuals, what about knives or car? When individuals start using knives on a massive scale to kill our fellow citizens, we'll take a look at it. Right. But it's not happening. And, it's a preposterous argument. It's a straw man argument. And it's upsetting that that's really what it devolves into because you really get nowhere at that point. And one point that I'd like to say is that all these mass shootings, whether it's in Newtown or Aurora or in San Bernardino, which was terror, this is all terrorism. It is meant to terrorize. And the media needs to call it what it is. And it doesn't matter if what the skin color is, it doesn't matter the religion that the individual practices. This is terrorism, and it's at our front. It's in our front door, and we have to deal with it. And it comes. We're inviting these events when we have lax gun laws, or I don't even think there are a lot of gun laws in terms that are really effective in this day and age, and we need to update them. And so when I hear Republicans, we need to enforce the laws that are on the books. Well, maybe, but we also need to do more, because this doesn't happen in other countries, as the president says. And I believe he's correct. We have a choice to make. We can either be a country that shrugs our shoulders and says, this is it, this is our way of life, or we can say enough is enough. And, that's really where we're at right now. I don't think that decision is coming. It's now. That is a decision we have to make now as a country.